Alright, so for those of you lucky enough to be here, the in-depth my strategy for this boss. Yeah, so what I like to do is if you just approach him here and then stand approximately here and then you just delete him. I find that's the best way to handle Al-Hezmi. Hey guys, Pitch here, back with another video. My previous build guide, I actually said it was probably going to be my last build guide, and that is what I intended. But since then I've been tweaking the build, I've been improving it, and never really to a point where it felt worthy to put out another video. But yesterday I passed a huge milestone, so we're going to take the last POB from 140 million and we're going to push it past 200 million. And I'm going to show you how. Let's get into it. So just a few things I want to go through before we start. Number one, if you have enjoyed the series and you want to support me as a content creator, then please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and jump over to Twitch as well and follow me on there. I am live streaming on both platforms every day at the moment. So if you want to see this build running live, then that's the place to do it. My current build is running about 130 million DPS, and the upgrades that we're about to go through now pushes past 200 million. So that little snippet at the beginning, that was my current build, just messing about on stream the other day, just having a bit of fun. And really that's all we're doing at this point, right? I mean, pushing any build from 130, 140 million up to 200 million is basically just having fun. We're just spending our currency and pushing the build as far as we can take it. The next point is that I'm only going through the upgrades today. What that means is I assume that you have already watched and digested my ultimate endgame POB video from last week. So if you have not watched that, please go and watch that. I will link it down in the description. That explains this build in a lot more detail. And right now, these are additions or changes to that build. The last thing is I want to mention that these changes have come about through either myself playing about in POB or playing about in crafting emulators, but also from having conversations with really knowledgeable community members that I've met. I just want to shout out to those guys. You know, I've met some really knowledgeable people. They've come up with some really good ideas, some good, some bad, but hey, it's nice that they're putting suggestions forward, and actually some of them have worked. Okay, so here we're now looking at the previous build guide. This was my ultimate POB. It sounds a bit dated now because that is where I intended to stop. But through just tinkering and tweaking and learning, we've been able to push this much, much further. So we started at 36 million per golem, which is about 140, just over 140 million DPS, Cyrus DPS, with over 8k energy shield, 90, 90, 90 res, 90% fizz res reduction, and 93% evade, with 24,000 armor. So a really, really, really solid build. And what we're going to look at today is this build. So as you can see, we're now pushing the DPS from 36 million all the way up past 50 million per golem. This is over 200 million DPS, Cyrus DPS. Still keeping the 8k plus energy shield with now 95% evasion, 90% physical reduction, 90% all res, 100% chaos immune with 26k armor. So an absolute monster here. And now that I have hit 200 million plus, this is where I'll be finishing up my build guides. I'm sure that some people in the community can find tweaks and ways to slightly improve this, and that's great. You guys have fun with this. But I will go through the changes now. So in the tree, there have been no changes whatsoever. So nice and simple. We can knock that one off the list real quick. In the items, however, there have been some changes. So you may have watched my video. I know it got a lot of views, and it was showing you how to craft the best in slot wand for this build. And I've made some changes to that wand, and I came across this by accident. So I was doing some theory crafting on the Craft of Exile emulator, and I noticed that it actually has a +1 level of all physical spell skill gems, and I just wasn't aware of that. So I thought that'd be interesting. I swapped it out in my wand in POB, and this is now the best in slot wand. The second best in slot would be +1 level of all mini and skill gems instead of physical, but this tops that. So these two wands are best in slot, significantly harder to craft than the mini and spell skill gems version, but better, so they have to go in. There isn't one on the market, and extremely difficult to craft. If there was one on the market, it would easily be worth a mirror. Oh, that's that. The helmet's the same. It is the synthesized Hubris Circlet. Saka walls is the same, the +1 Saka walls. Now the gloves have been switched out, and this came about through a conversation in Discord. A guy messaged me, a really knowledgeable guy, and he said, what about the +5 gloves, the Hands of the High Templar? And the thing is, we were both actually using those gloves last league whilst doing the Aura Stacker, the Spark Aura Stacker, but I just never considered them for this build. So definitely an oversight on my part. They are extremely expensive because here I've put the +7 in. They do exist, you can buy them. So +7 Hands of the High Templar, I believe to now be best in slot for this build. The boots are the same, the amulet is the same, and the rings are different. I crafted this ring myself. So this is a +3 level of sockety gems with T1 intelligence, T1 energy shield, T1 percentage increased energy shield. Max roll minions deal increased damage, the Delve mod. And then on this one, I've crafted shock nearby enemies for 4 seconds when you focus. So if you've never used focus before, if you have a mod on any item that says something like this, or when you focus, you're actually given a focus skill that you can use. This is only for bosses. You would pop that, and the enemy would be shocked for 4 seconds, and that increases the damage. The base, I believe, the base is 20% shock effect. This one is a duplicate of that one. I own this ring, so I could mirror it, or I could craft another one. And in this one, I chose to put intelligence as the spare suffix. Belt's the same, jewels are the same, and all of this is the same. Don't need to go through any of that. Now, onto the flasks. I did tidy up my flasks. So, all of these have increased duration. A granite flask with increased armor. A stibnite flask with increased evasion. A basalt flask with chill and freeze immunity. And a quicksilver flask with curse immunity. The big change here is that I swapped out Rumi's Concoction for Bottled Faith. I'd had this suggested to me multiple times and I just batted it off. I just didn't think it would make such a difference. But after just having a POB session and testing it out, it does make a big difference. So definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. That's it for the items. So what other changes have we made? Made a change to the Animate Guardian. And that is that came from a Discord conversation as well. Someone PM'd me and said, would it not be better to use a 9% more physical damage to nearby enemies helmet rather than the Leer cast? The Leer cast gives you 15% damage to all minions, but this outperforms it by quite a lot. So I picked myself up a helmet with life, chaos resistance, and enemies take 9% more fizz damage. So with the changes to the items, specifically the +3 rings and the +7 gloves, I've made some changes to the way the skills are set up. Let's go through that now. In the helmet, now running Val Haste, Val Grace, Determination, Purity of Lightning, that could be any purity. In the boots, this is the same, AG with Raise Spectre, Raise Zombies, and Feeding Frenzy. The gloves, which are now +7s, so it's important we get a lot of DPS out of this. So the Dread Banner, Precision, Awaken Generosity, that goes in this, in the glove links, and I also have Pride in there as well. Pride doesn't benefit from Generosity, or should I say the minions don't benefit from Pride through Generosity, but it still buffs Pride significantly. In the weapon, Flesh and Stone with Maim and Convocation. In the other weapon, Purity of Fire, Purity of Ice, and Flame Dash. The chest is exactly the same 6-link. Val Discipline in one of the +3 unset rings. And in the other unset ring, it doesn't really matter because you don't get any extra damage from Divergent Vitality here. That comes from the quality. But it does give you some extra regen, so I put Vitality in here. Clarity comes from the Amulet, Born Armor from the Ascendancy, Vulnerabilities coming from the AG, and Aspect of the Avian is crafted on the boots. And that is it. Those changes have pushed this build from 140 million up past 200 million DPS. Sacrificed a little bit of flat AS, but it's an absolute non-issue. This build is a monster. 95% evade, 90% fizz reduction, 90% all res, 100% chaos res, 26,000 armor. So I hope you enjoyed that, guys. That is the build rundown complete, and that will be my final guide. I'm really happy with where I've left it. I took this from, I don't actually know where I started. I think I started around 50 million sort of predicted, and now pushed it past 200 million, and I am so happy with that. I hope you guys enjoy it. This one is for, we're just having fun at this point. This is for those of you who have loads of currency lying around and you really want to just push this build to its maximum and have a lot of fun with it. So enjoy it, and if you did like the video, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one. Alright, peace out.